Happy New Year! Today I'm going to talk a little bit of core basics with y'all. So if we think of your pelvis like a bowl, your pelvic floor is a group of muscles that closes the bottom of the bowl. Okay? And then if you imagine that your rib cage is like an upside down bowl, your diaphragm sits at the bottom of your rib cage. So when you inhale, you want your diaphragm to move down. It puts a little bit of downward pressure on your pelvic floor and helps your pelvic floor to lengthen and lower. That all happens on your inhale. Also, your abs expand outward because your rib cage is expanding outward. This way, your abs are also expanding outward. The reverse happens on your exhale. So your pelvic floor lifts and contracts. It puts a little bit of upward pressure on your diaphragm. Your abs narrow, your rib cage narrows, and it helps to push the air back up out of your lungs for your exhale. All right, so when you lack this basic core function, this foundation, I want you to think of it like the foundation in a house. So if you build a house on a shaky foundation, it's going to cause you issues. You might end up with a great big crack in your wall. You might end up with uneven flooring. You might have a window that never closes all the way. It's going to look different in different houses depending on what the issues are in the foundation. So the same thing is true for people. Sometimes when our foundation is shaky and isn't working effectively for us, we see things like pushing out into your belly that creates a belly pooch or a diastasis recti, an ab separation. Sometimes the way that you control that system causes pressure downwards that can contribute to leaking or to pelvic organ prolapse. Sometimes it shows up as pain. And sometimes this ineffective core foundation looks like the things that I talked about in yesterday's reel. So sometimes it can cause you to feel like good posture is just really hard, but it's because your pieces aren't well stacked over each other. Sometimes it causes you to move your trunk excessively when you're under a load, like when you're working out. And this can contribute to shoulder pain because your shoulder is doing more work or your hip is doing more work because your trunk isn't as still. Even your neck or your jaw, all of those can be indications that your core, your foundation has cracks in it, has issues because it's not providing you this stable base that allows everything else to work on top of it. And then things like clenching your jaw or sticking out your tongue or curling your toes or holding your breath, all of those are ways that you create more tension in the system because the foundation isn't doing its job. And so you see different combinations in different people because none of us are exactly the same. But the solution is still to consider that foundation. What happens on your inhale? What happens on your exhale? Can you feel your abs expand? Does your rib cage expand in all directions? Does your inhale make it to your pelvic floor? Can you feel lengthening in the front? Can you feel lengthening in the back? You want to be able to create awareness of what should happen and then to check it against what actually happens in your body. On your exhale, can you feel your pelvic floor lift? Can you feel it in the front? Can you feel it in the back? Do your abs narrow? Do you have rib cage mobility to allow all of that to happen? And so this is what I teach in my online program, and I'm running my biggest sale of the year right now. So don't miss out. If you have any questions or you need any details, feel free to DM me, but it's also up in my stories right now.